Hi, I'm Adam and welcome back to First Man Photography. Now I'm starting the video in the car today because we're in the middle of Storm Pia, or Pia, and it's wild out there, sort of 60 to 70 mile an hour gusts. And although the sun's out, it's crazy out there. I think it's going to be a very challenging day, but I've made the point of coming out because the conditions could be really interesting. The sun's out, there's rain around, there's cloud around, there's wind about, and there's a forecast of a storm surge, which may produce some very interesting photographs of the sea. So that's my hope for today, and I would really love it if you were to come with me. Let's go. Right, so I'm out of the car. It is very windy, but it's very gusty, so I think sort of normal wind speed's about 20 miles an hour, which is not too bad, but when those 60 mile an hour gusts come, it just sort of disturbs everything. It's a very strange atmosphere, which I think is why the conditions could be really interesting. You can see here though that the tide is right in at the moment, so there's just no point in going down to the beach just yet. It is on its way out in the next couple of hours, so I'm hopeful I'll be able to get down there. So first, I think I'm going to go and check out some of the cliffs and see what the conditions look like there. The light is beautiful, really beautiful. You can probably see it on the lighthouse behind me there, but it's a really nice quality low light. Creating a lot of atmosphere with this weather, so yeah, let's get down towards the cliff edge. The sort of stuff my mum hates me doing, and see what we can find. Right, I'm set up and this is the view, and the wind is insane. It's a very dodgy spot that I'm on, but I think it's going to be worth it. Just look at that, the light is just sensational. The gusts are making it difficult. I'm scared things are going to blow away, so even though I've got the tripod legs set out wide, I'm keeping hold of it. That sun's come back, look at that now. Quick shot, I am... it's difficult to explain what's happening, but I've got the 6-stop filter on. The sea is so rough that I need to remove some of the detail in there because it's distracting from the image for me. We've then got the line of the cliffs there, which I just think look brilliant. And then that warm light. Let's take another one. Whoa! That warm light is just phenomenal. I'm trying to keep the sun out of the frame, trying to hold on to everything and not get blown away. It is exciting. The water is brilliant, but I need to remove some of that contrast from there. That's what I wanted to say. So I'm doing that with a long exposure. And then just using the cliffs to lead me in. There's some beautiful colour in the sky, some oranges, some yellows. It's just so warm and atmospheric. And then all that action and all that movement in the sea is going to add a real dynamism, I think, to the image, a sense of power. But I'm going to smooth it out a little bit to make it feel more serene. And if I wasn't being battered and blown around so much, that's exactly the feeling I would have. So I'm kind of using the long exposure to create the artistic mood in the image that I sort of envision in my head. I think that's what I'm doing anyway. Let's have a look. Oh wow, the light is just beautiful. The way it's reflecting on the water. I might just reduce the exposure a little bit to just add a little bit more motion or a little bit more detail into the water. But it's just the light, and I've said that already, but the light is very nice. And yeah, so 6-stop filter on. I've just gone down to f11 and I'm now at a shutter speed of about a second, and I'm bracketing 2 stops either side. And then let's do another one because this is just looking beautiful. Try and hold the tripod firm for a second. Oh, and the blue of the water is coming through on it as well. And with that sun off to the top right of the frame, creating so much mood and atmosphere. The light on the water as well, coming through the gap of the drinking dinosaur, just looks phenomenal. It's so exciting. And it's all added by the power of this wind. It just feels like a very powerful scene. And that's kind of what I want to capture. It's so difficult though because I'm holding onto this camera. I'm trying not to let go of the tripod. It's Canon's camera. I don't want to lose it. Wild, but I think it's going to be worth it. So worth it. So I've just had a tip that there's some seals down in the bay, and I did see one pop its head up in the water, so I think they might be coming in. So I've got the long lens on to try and capture some of them. I don't think the angle's going to be quite right for an amazing wildlife shot, but the way the light is catching some of the waves as well, there may be some interesting wave action type shots. Moment with the seals there. They are now attracting quite a lot of attention. There's a few more people come down to see them, so I've stepped away and I'm going to try and capture some of the waves because I just love the power of the sea at the moment, and it's really impressive. And as that sort of evening light catches the spray and the waves, it's just creating some really interesting shapes and colour and tones. And yeah, it's not really something I do very often, so it's slightly experimental for me, but I think it's quite nice conditions for such a thing. So I do have the camera on the tripod, which isn't totally necessary, but it just means I can film at the same time. I've got it fairly loose on the ball head, just kind of rolling around like that. I'm going with f2.8, which this lens is, so I'm going to make the most of that sort of shallower depth of field. I'm then at ISO 200, 1/1250th. Yeah, 1/1250th of a second. To focus, I have it on servo mode, which seems to be functioning pretty well. Oh yes, here we go. So, oh, it's looking nice. The sun's right on it as well. Don't mess it up. It's happening literally right now. Can you see that? That's a lot of fun. I've got it on sort of rapid fire as well. Not massive rapid fire because I don't want to have to deal with all the files later, but I'm just firing away as best I can. I don't really have much more else to say about photographing waves. It's good fun. Feels a little bit like photographing wildlife. So I'm going to have a little bit more of a play around. I'll put a series of these images up for you to have a look, and then I think we'll try and get down to the beach and do something for sunset. Oh no, I've just been walking down this path I've been down many times before. Noticed there's been a bit of a landslide at some point, and you can see it's all covered the path and the steps, but I thought, oh, I'm just going to go for it anyway, walk through it, and it was very deep mud, and I now have some very muddy feet and legs, and it's thick mud. Oh man, that is not what I wanted. Look at that. Oh, it's cold and horrible as well. The day was going so well. I'll just crack on, and I want to get down to the beach. I might be able to wash my feet in the sea a bit now. It is very rough, and that storm surge is pushing right in still. We're coming towards low tide now, but that is still looking like it's high tide. Right, so I'm set up for a shot, and it is an absolutely glorious end to the day, and there is a little seal swimming about as well who's come to see me, which is really rather nice. The tide has actually now gone out enough for me to get down onto the beach, and I just love these chalky rocks. It's producing some really interesting details, and we've replaced the sound of the wind with the sound of that little waterfall there, and now the sea, which is really rather loud, but it is a fantastic moment as there is a significant amount of colour in the sky. So I'm really excited, as we have an audience stood behind me. I'm wanting a long exposure, so I have the 6-stop filter on again, because the reason I do it mainly is to remove some of the contrast and some of the detail out of the sea, as it's coming in to get me around my feet and washing some of that mud off, but it's still fast enough at about 2 seconds, maybe a little bit less than that by the time I'm finished, to not blur the clouds. And there's some lovely pinks and yellows and oranges in those clouds now, so it just looks absolutely fantastic, really. I'm at f16. I'm going to actually go down to f11 just to speed up the exposure time a little bit. So I'm now at f11, about a second, ISO 320, just to get that shutter speed right. And I've also cropped down because when I'm wide, I'm getting the 2 cliffs in, which I don't particularly want in the frame, but I want to get the height in the frame. So I want to be a bit wider to get the height. So I've cropped down to the 4x3, which I think is going to work really, really well. So I'm going to just fire one more off, and yeah, I think that is going to be really ethereal, really nice, and yeah, just a really nice image. So let me know what you think. I'm now getting what I think is going to be an absolutely epic time lapse with the moon in it. I don't know if you can see that, the lighthouse going, and then the few pinks and last bits of colour in the sky. I've absolutely loved today. It's just felt like a really powerful day, and I really hope that my images reflect that a little bit. I just love the effect, the positive effect that it has on our well-being and mental health, if that's something you struggle with, and I know many people do because they email me, and it inspires me how people cope with these things, especially at this time of year, coming up to Christmas, when it can feel like a lonely time for many people. I used to be in the police and I worked a lot of Christmas days. Yeah, they were always busy with a fair amount of upset and misery, so do spare a little thought for them whilst we're all having a great time enjoying our turkey and our beer and our families and our presents and all that good stuff that many of us do enjoy, and I plan to do just that as well. I do have a huge video coming up next week to finish the year off, and it's a mammoth one. I think you will love it, so please do subscribe to the channel to make sure that you don't miss out on that. Please leave a comment and let me know what you think about today's video, and yeah, have a Merry Christmas, or if you're not celebrating it, I hope you have a good time anyway, and I will see you on another one very, very soon. Bye.